Hey everyone, welcome to the Cymbal Swap podcast where we talk everything cymbals and drums. And today I have a special guest, Andrew Swift, the general manager of EMD Music, which is a distributor for Stagg Cymbals. Welcome, Andrew.
Cool. Thanks, Justin. Happy to be here. I appreciate you having me.
Thanks for coming. Yeah, really excited to talk to you today about Stagg. We recently became an authorized dealer, and we're just really excited about your lineup and your cymbals.
Yeah, we're happy to have you guys on board. I remember when my rep first said, "Hey, check this out, see what these guys are doing," and I thought that that was a really creative and neat approach that to the best of my knowledge, nobody has done before. And I was like, "That's cool. That could work quite well." So I see an application for it, and I see a need, to be able to get stuff all over the country and be able to get stuff in for session. I mean, your model. I like your model. I think it's cool.
I appreciate that.
And I'm glad it's in the industry.
Yeah, yeah, we're super excited to be involved, and so I wanted to, first learn a little bit about you and like how you got started in the music industry. What's your background?
Well, I've been a musician as long as I can remember. I had toy instruments before I started, the real aspect of it. But I think I started taking lessons around 10. First gigs I played, my guitar player's mom drove us. We didn't have our licenses yet. So, and then I went in college. I got a percussion performance degree, and I'm in Nashville. So I moved to Nashville to be a rock star, and ended up, working, playing a lot of gigs, doing some touring, and then working on the instrument side and the instrument distribution and repair and background and all those things. And here I am, running music instrument distributor and helping with product development, and it's fun. It's a whole lot of fun. That's me.
Awesome. So, what were some of your influences when you first started? What kind of music were you playing in Nashville?
Well, I've always been a rock and roll guy. I love playing rock and roll, but boy, it's the music scene is so diverse here. I've played jazz gigs. I've played a lot of bluegrass gigs, honestly. I sort of toured with a funk band for a little while. Right now, just jamming and playing with my buddies. I get out and play maybe a gig every 2 to 4 weeks. It's the only healthy addiction in my life is playing music as much as possible. So.
Absolutely. Well, that's great. So EMD, can you tell me a little bit of history about, EMD, like where it started and where it is now?
Sure. EMD is a distributor. It actually started in the 60s. This is our 62nd year or
Wow.
61st year. 25 will be our 62nd year. It was started by a guy named Leonardo Baldocci, and it's still a family owned and family run music instrument distributor. His daughter is the current CEO, and she's my boss and oversees EMD. They're based in Brussels, Belgium. That's where it started. EMD actually stands for European Music Distribution, and we launched the U.S. operation in 2003. So we're on 21 years, and then EMD always distributed different brands, and then they wanted to have their own brand that they could control, and that was where Stagg came from. And Stagg's really prolific. It's guitars, it's cases, it's cables, it's obviously cymbals, with what we're talking about. But it's a little bit of everything, and it's a good appeal to music stores, and then we also distribute a handful of other different brands out of the same facility, and you know, it's fun. It's a good company to work for. Like I said, it's a big company. We operate in like 70 different countries, but it's a family owned, and it has a small company kind of feel to it.
Yeah,
So that's the fun part about it.
that's that's incredible. Yeah, I received your catalog and I was going through it and I was really impressed the diversity of products and brands. There's a lot to choose from. And yeah, like you said,
Yeah.
not just drums and cymbals, lots of other things. So I'm excited to explore some of the other items that you guys have. Cymbal Swap, obviously, we're just focused on cymbals. And that's where, I was really excited to see them in person because I've seen a lot of different brands. Stagg I hadn't seen in person or heard in person, but I had seen online. And when I had the chance to do a live demo with one of your reps locally, I was so impressed. And there's just a really great mix of cymbals available.
Mhm.
How many series do you guys have?
Well, in the professional end, the hand hammered B20 stuff, the real stuff, we have four. Starting in price point, we have the SH, which is a single hammered piece, and the single hammered stuff. There, splashes, crashes, chinas, rides, hats, everything, every class of cymbal and all different sizing. They tend to be lighter weights or medium weights, and I put those into kind of a low to mid volume application for those. They speak really well, good stick definition on the rides. I use some SH stuff in my performance lineup. I think my secondary crash is a 17-inch SH, and I'm looking into, probably picking up one of the medium rides at some point in the near future. So to use something, I started doing a gig where I needed a little more ping. I'm a washy ride guy, so when doing some rock and roll stuff, you need a little more stick definition, you need a little more ping, you need a little more clarity on the bell. So I've personally been toying with some new ride cymbals, and I'm trying to go, look at potentially the SH stuff or possibly the Myra line. And the Myra line is something that we just relaunched. We had 8 series of cymbals 15 years ago, and it was too much. It was too cluttered and confusing and overlap. But Myra was our heavier weight stuff that was geared towards rock and metal guys. But the neat thing about the Myra line is it's not something that you got to wind up and hit with a baseball bat. Some of these rock and roll cymbals are so heavy
Yeah.
that you got to strike them so hard that they speak. But we have the durability in there, and we have the proper weighting in there that it'll speak at a low to mid or loud. If you want to bash on it, you can bash on it by all means, and they're kind of geared towards that genre. But they'll speak at all volumes, which is what I like in particular about the Myra series. And it's available in a brilliant finish, and it's also available in a raw finish.
Yeah.
But only
Yeah. I love that there's like that difference in the raw top, the lathe bottom, and you could choose from the brilliant or dark. It's a great series. And then of course you have the Genghis series. The first Genghis cymbal I saw was the dual series, and it's pretty unique looking. Like it's not like your average dual finish cymbal. It's really sharp.
Yeah. Well, how we make these is this one has multiple hammering processes.
Okay.
So it uses, you can see the different sizes of the hammer on the marks that are on the plate. And this is, when you make a cymbal, this is what it looks like until it's finished. So what we do is we only finish the bell and we finish the edge. And what that does is that brings out some of the darker and lower overtones, as opposed to the standard Genghis, which is this guy, which is the same manufacturing process and the same kind of bow and bell profile, and it just has, more. The lower overtones are going to speak on this one more so than on this one, particularly with the decay. I would say the same about the Myra and the Myra Raw, that the Myra itself, I was in here the other day and I was comparing an 18 Brilliant and an 18 Raw. And what I found was that in the decay, that the decay went towards the lower overtones on the raw finish. The attack was very similar. but the decay on it is more shimmery and focuses more on the high end frequencies on the brilliant finish Myra stuff.
That's amazing. So, and then you also have some low volume cymbals, and do you have a B8, like a beginner
Yeah,
as
we
well?
do a set of cymbals with the holes drilled in them.
Yeah.
It's kind of a common occurrence now. It came out of the pandemic with everybody, needing to play. Yeah, we got to keep playing drums, but the stages are closed. The rehearsal facilities are closed. So, yeah, at that time we came out with a silent cymbal set, which I don't have handy, but it's 20, an 18, a 16, a pair of 14-inch hats, and it comes with a bag. I can't comment on the tone quality of those things, but I did a video on YouTube where I played with regular cymbals and regular drums, and then I did the same thing with the silent cymbals and Remo mesh heads, and we were in there with a dB meter and playing regular drums and regular cymbals was coming in 110, 115 dB. And then when we did the same track in the same studio and played the same stuff with the silent products, the dB dropped like 30.
Oh,
It
wow.
was like hanging out in the 80 to 85 range, which is basically, I could be sitting in here playing drums and you can be having a conversation with somebody and not screaming at them.
Yeah, that's a big difference. And I actually spoke to a drummer just the other day that was saying, you know, in an apartment, in a smaller house, wanting to play later, it makes a big difference. So those definitely come in handy.
Yeah, yeah, you got. I mean, if you're in an apartment or you want to play late, you got to have electronic kit, or you have to have some type of silent options. And for people to and the silent cymbals and the silent heads, they feel better. They feel like you're playing a normal kit. It's not, and the technology that's out there now with electronic kits is pretty astounding where they've come. But not everybody not everybody's going to have that top of the line Zildjian thing that just came out. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So not only cymbals, but you guys carry gongs of all sizes. And I have
We
a Tam Tam 24 behind me, and there's a lot of different gong options that you guys have.
Yeah, we do tam tams and we do wind gongs. Um, and there's a little bit of there's some product development going on there. Stay tuned in 2025 that we're going to have some new additions to the gong and wind gong line. Um, I can't speak too much on that yet because we haven't released the products and the information, but that's in development and new things coming there pretty soon. So we'll definitely make you aware. You can make your customer base aware, and so no, we look forward to that. It's good stuff. It's nice improvements.
That's awesome. So I want to learn a little bit about the process of Stagg cymbals. Like, where are they made? Who's the cymbal smith? What's the process behind it?
We make stuff in northern China, and that's a region where there's been cymbal smiths making cymbals, gongs, or pieces of metal that speak for worship or whatever for over 2,000 years, and they've got the process dialed in over there. What we do differently than other cymbal makers that manufacture in China is we have press rolling equipment. Press rolling equipment is something that was developed in the States. And what it does is it takes the raw metal material and you run it through, think of like a pasta press or something that's gonna distribute the metal evenly.
Okay.
And what the machines do when they distribute the metal evenly, that does a couple of different things. It increases the density of the metal, so you get a little bit of a better stick response, particularly when you're playing off your time cymbals like your ride.
Yeah.
And what it also does is it gives us a more consistent product. We only invested in that equipment about 15 years ago. So the cymbals that we were doing 20 years ago, sometimes they'd sit on a stand like that. They have a heavy spot because the metal was being distributed by hand.
Okay.
And using the press rolling machines, like I said, it does the density. It makes a much more balanced cymbal, and it makes a much more consistent cymbal. To the best of my knowledge, we're the only guys that are actually making stuff in Asia, but we're making it with that manufacturing process.
That's interesting. So, is there a designer or a lead at Stagg or EMD that are designing the cymbal lines?
We have a gentleman named Dennis in Brussels, and he works on drum and percussion and cymbal design. He's the one that handled the relaunch of the Myra line when they came back out, and props to him. He did a great job with that. We're all super happy with the end result and the product that we got with that. But all this, I can't keep my nose out of it. I'm like, oh, you're developing new cymbals. When do I get the prototypes? And, I'll say, okay, this one's a little, take 20 grams off that, and I want to see a bigger bell because it doesn't have the projection. And, sometimes it's a couple of different rounds. Sometimes the prototypes are right on, but, we agree on a concept. He'll start the process, and then, the circle of trust agrees on, the concept that this makes sense in our line, and this is something that we want to bring in. And then, we talk about the density, the thickness, the hammering process, which, do we want to do a pinpoint? One series we didn't hit is our Sensa series, which we use a pinpoint hammer. Okay. And those have a really bright and brilliant sound. They're really popular for guys doing worship music, or guys doing, pop rock and that kind of thing, kind of mainstream sound. But yeah, we all have a little bit of a hand in it. He kind of runs the show on the development, but yeah, I stick my nose in there. I try and help. I try and it's fun. And guys in my band know. If I show up to rehearsal with a bag of 10 cymbals that I'm rotating in and out, I'm hearing how they sound in a real application, as opposed to just sitting in this room, just isolating cymbals by themselves. Because cymbals, when you listen to them just by themselves, you want to hear how they speak with a kick. When you hit a crash, you want to hit it with a kick. When you want to hear these things in a live performance type situation. So.
Yeah, and bringing that up, that's the big difference of playing a cymbal in person. There's nothing like having that cymbal behind your kit, getting to test it live. Sound demos are great. They could give you a general idea of what frequency range that cymbal speaks. But when you get to play it on your kit, that's when you could really feel, okay, I can understand how this cymbal is going to react, how it's going to play with other cymbal lines, where it's going to sit in the volume range. And with Cymbal Swap, that's one thing that I think we offer, that a lot of our customers really just, they want to be able to play it live on their kit in their space, so they can understand where how it's going to react. So yeah, I love the quality of the cymbals from Stagg. B20 bronze, hammered, and they're a really great value. It's hard to find.
Well, that's the whole point. What we wanted to do is we wanted to create a professional level cymbal that speaks well, sounds good. Any session, any stage, they're going to find themselves at home, and they're going to speak well. But we also wanted to keep it within a working musician's budget. We all know cymbals are relatively expensive, but we're also, many of us are addicted to buying them, collecting them, and playing them. And then, I'm going to this gig. I'm going to take these. These are my voices for this gig. Yeah. These are my voices when I want to do this. So we want to have a couple of bags of them and we want to be able to have cymbals that are attainable, but do the job and speak well, with anything else, I've been playing longer than I've been working here. So I do have a lot of older stuff, from major brands that I'll still mix in here and there if that's a particular voice that I want. But, it's a gig specific thing, and it's really nice to have the ability to um, have a couple full bags of them to pick your sounds for that night or that application.
What I've seen from Stagg is just really top notch quality, very consistent between the lines. The Genghis series is something that we carry at Cymbal Swap. We have a full set of Genghis. We also have the Myra Raw line, um, which I've been really digging.
I got
Not
you.
super heavy, not like extremely heavy, but very durable and, a great
Yeah.
volume. And another thing is like there's other fine details that I like. The really nice cymbal bags that you guys carry, even storing them in a bag, they're not scraping against other cymbals. It's just a nice way to, it's a nice touch.
Good. I'm glad you dig it.
Yeah.
Keeps them clean too. Helps keep them because I mean, in the warehouse they're boxed and then they're in the bags.
Yeah.
And we want to, with the exception of me going and some of the other drummers that work here going and digging our noses in there and listening to, ooh, new plates just came in, let's check them out. But no, that keeps them clean because we want them, when somebody, gets a new cymbal, you want the unboxing, the happiness, the all the things that come with getting a nice new piece of gear.
As far as the cymbal lines, is there one line that you would say like gotta try this line? Like where should drummers start?
Well, it depends on what you play. The SH speaks well in kind of all situations.
Okay.
Uh, and I must say the Sensa also speaks well in all situations. They're kind of our all-purpose ones. Now, the Ganga series is kind of geared towards um, I don't want to say you're jazz guy. I hate to pigeonhole an instrument and say,
Yeah.
we do that with guitars. This guitar is supposed to be a jazz guitar or a rock guitar or a blues guitar. It's an instrument. It's what you want to play on it. So I do like the Genghis for like a small jazz combo is what I think about something like that. But that's kind of the traditional. What we did with that is that's kind of the traditional Turkish process
Okay.
what we mimic in the manufacturing and the design and the hammering and the lathing and the weights and all the things that go into the design process. That's what we thought of with that. And then we had already talked about the Myras that they're geared towards your rock guy, your metal guy. So the louder applications and that's the customer base, or the player that's probably going to gravitate towards those cymbals.
That's awesome. So if you have a lot of Stagg Cymbal fans out there, do you have an artist program available?
We do. You can apply for the artist program at stagmusic.com. The consumer site, it has a lot of information on the products and some links to sound samples. And there's an artist tab on there, and down at the bottom there's an application where you can submit. And we'd love to hear from people that are playing them. We want to help musicians. That's why we're here. We're a company selling musical instruments, but we're all musicians too. So,
And you guys are, like you said, the main headquarters is over in Europe, but you have an office in Nashville and you have representatives all over the country.
yeah, that's right. So EMD is the distributor and it owns the Stagg brand. And yeah, I've got a customer service team here. We've got about 15 sales reps throughout the United States, and then the whole warehouse operation is right behind me. So we got about 6,000 square feet here, and it's everything, and we're in about 1,000 different music stores throughout the country. And I like the creative business models, I mean, and I like a traditional mom and pop store too. I like the website guys. I'm happy to have all of them. They all bring something to the table. It's people shop differently now. That's all evolving, and we want to be there how people buy in 2024 and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. We're big fans of drum shops, cymbal shops. We
Yeah.
think, if you have a drum shop in your local area, support them. They really need support right now. But for those drummers out there that they may not have a drum shop near them, or one may have shut down that they used to love going to. We've at Cymbal Swap, that's our big thing, is giving drummers that opportunity to try it first. And, we have a lot of drummers throughout the country that, are in rural areas that don't have a drum shop nearby, or even we've had handicapped drummers that can't get to a actual drum shop. So we love being able to help them and, deliver cymbals straight to them. They could choose different series, different sizes, and really test how they work on their kit, and even compare them with their existing cymbals. Does this mesh well? What do you like better? And from there, we can always order or special order different sizes, weights from Stagg and get them in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, is in terms of future plans for Stagg, what's in the works? Do you guys have any new product lines that you're working on right now? Any new developments for 2025?
Well, like I alluded to earlier, we're trying to revamp some gongs. But honestly, what we did 5 or 6 years ago, like I said, we had 8 or 10 different pro lines, and we wanted to focus it in.
Yeah.
So we focused everything in, and then we realized that it made a lot of sense to bring back the Myra because that was a class, and an application that we didn't really have. So right now for new cymbals, I don't see anything in the pipeline. I do see gongs being revamped. I see wind gongs tam-tam gongs and wind gongs both being revamped. I just finished design on a new marimba that we're going to drop in 2025. So that may appeal to some people on your channel. So,
yeah, I'm excited to try out some of the new products. Of course, if drummers are interested to try anything new, they could reach out to us and we could definitely get it in the shop. But yeah, I'm really excited about our collaboration together, and
mhm.
really excited about helping drummers choose some Stagg cymbals.
Yeah, that's sweet. Yeah, man, keep up the good work. You guys have a really neat business model. Like I said, when I first, looked at it, I was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. Nobody's doing that I know of. And there's a great application for it. And we've only, known each other for 3 or 4 months, but it's going great so far, and we like it. We're happy to work with you.
Well, thanks, Andrew. I really appreciate your time coming on the podcast, and great to learn a lot more about Stagg. And if
Mhm.
any listeners want to learn more, they can go to stagg.com.
Staggmusic.com is the site for the products.
Okay.
So
You can check out all the different product lines. And of course, we're dealers, so we can get in anything in the shop. But we're really excited about helping drummers out and showing off all these amazing Stagg cymbals.
sweet. Thanks, Justin. I really appreciate your time and inviting me to do this. This was a blast.
Yeah, it was great speaking with you. Really great to meet you. And yeah, anyone that's listening, please check out Stagg Cymbals. You can go to cymbalswap.com/stagg, and you could check out all the cymbals that we have. And of course, reach out to us if you have any questions. Well, thanks again, and we'll see you on the next Cymbal Swap podcast.
All right. Cheers, man. Thanks.
Cheers.